watching Prime Time. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. We just heard Finance Minister Arun Jaitley rebut former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh a short while ago, raising questions about a meeting that took place a few days ago at Congress leader Manishankar Ayyar's residence, where former Pakistani diplomats were present. Now let's give you a context to this entire story. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has launched a sharp attack on Prime Minister Modi over his remarks on alleged Pakistani influence on Gujarat polls. Dr. Singh claimed that Modi is setting a dangerous precedent and asked the Prime Minister to apologize to the nation. Singh rejected Modi's comments and said that he did not discuss Gujarat at the dinner hosted by Manishankar Ayyar for former Foreign Minister of Pakistan Khurshid Kasuri. He also hoped that Prime Minister Modi would show the maturity required of the office he holds, and said his comments show, and I'm quoting here, desperation as he fears defeat in Gujarat. Dr. Singh's comments came in response to Prime Minister Modi's comments in an election rally in Palanpur in Gujarat. Modi had suggested that Pakistan was trying to influence the Gujarat elections. He also claimed some Pakistani officials and Manmohan Singh met at Congress leader Manishankar Ayyar's house over dinner on December 6th. Let's listen in to what Prime Minister Modi had said.
મણિશંકર અય્યર એમના ઘરમાં એક મીટિંગ મળી પાકિસ્તાનના હાઈ કમિશનર, પાકિસ્તાનના ભૂતપૂર્વ વિદેશ મંત્રી, ભારતના ભૂતપૂર્વ ઉપરાષ્ટ્રપતિ શ્રીમાન અંસારીજી, ભારતના ભૂતપૂર્વ મુખ્ય પ્રધાનમંત્રી શ્રીમાન મનમોહન સિંહજી, 3 કલાક મીટિંગ ચાલી અને બીજા દાડે એમણે કહ્યું મોદી નીચ છે. હવે મને કહો ભાઈ, દાળમાં કઈ કાળું છે કે નથી? સવાલ ઉભો થાય કે ના થાય? કોંગ્રેસે જવાબ આપવો પડે કે ના આપવો પડે? બીજી બાજુ પાકિસ્તાનના એક પૂર્વ આર્મીના વડા, એમણે આર્મીના પૂર્વ વડાએ એમણે નિવેદન કર્યું અને પૂર્વ આર્મી ડાયરેક્ટર જનરલ અરશદ રફીક, પાકિસ્તાનના સેનાના વડા રહેલા, એમણે નિવેદન કર્યું કે ગુજરાતની ચૂંટણીઓ ચાલે છે, અહેમદભાઈ પટેલને મુખ્યમંત્રી બનાવવાનો મારો ટેકો છે.
Well, that's how the entire controversy began, and that statement was made on the 10th of December, Sunday. Now, Pakistan's Foreign Affairs spokesperson Mohammad Faisal called Prime Minister Modi's comments baseless and irresponsible. In a tweet, he asked India to stop dragging Pakistan into its electoral debate and win victories on its own strength rather than fabricated conspiracies. In response, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad today condemned the unwarranted statement by Pakistan on Gujarat elections.
I wish to tell Pakistan that Indians are capable of contesting India's democracy on their own, as they do. India's Prime Minister is a popularly elected Prime Minister of India, and so is the BJP. We completely abhor any outside interference in India's electoral affairs. But the role of Pakistan in promoting terrorism in India is too well known in the entire world. And Pakistan, please stop giving us lessons. We are proud of India's democracy.
Well, now the latest in this entire round of comments and counter-comments, of course, was Finance Minister Arun Jaitley hitting back at former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's rebuttal. Aditi Fadnis, political editor of the Business Standard, is joining us now on the phone line for more on this story. Aditi, how has Pakistan entered this entire conversation around the Gujarat elections, and will it be a key turning point?
Well, I'm not sure if it will be a key turning point, but certainly it's all very sad. I don't think external factors should be a factor in assembly elections. I mean, next thing you'll find panchayat elections, Pakistan is being raised, then municipal elections, Pakistan is going to be raised. It's quite ridiculous. And I've known Manishankar Iyer for 30 years, and I don't think there is a bigger nationalist than Manishankar Iyer. So I refuse to believe that he would have done anything to undermine India. True, he was he was brought up in Karachi. He has great affection. He served there during his professional career. So all that is fine. But, reducing it to this level, and Pakistan is calling us names, we are calling Pakistan, it's a ridiculous kind of a situation.
What about the point that the Congress first didn't really accept that this meeting ever took place? Now, of course, we know that there was a meeting, though the people who attended it say that Gujarat was never a part of the conversation. Has that put the Congress in a tricky position?
Well, even if there was such a meeting, and even if people did meet, people are meeting all the time. They might not be meeting in India. They're meeting elsewhere in the world. What is wrong with the meeting? I can't understand. Why should that be an anti-national act?
Absolutely. It has become the central focus as of now of the election campaign going into the second phase. Aditi, does it also reflect how sharp this fight has become for Gujarat?
Yes, indeed. And I'm amazed that things should have come to this pass, to this new low. The Prime Minister himself, without telling anyone, without asking anyone, without informing anyone, he himself went to Lahore, to Raiwind, on Nawaz Sharif's birthday. It was not such a long time ago either. So why can't we just maintain relations at that level with a degree of dignity and with a degree of understanding and empathy? We are just weakening whatever little possibility for dialogue there was with Pakistan, and all for what?
All right. Thanks so much for speaking with us, Aditi Fadnis, political editor at the Business Standard there. Now, we're speaking next with senior journalist Ajay Shukla, who happened to be at that meeting on the 6th of December, which has become this big talking point. Ajay, thanks for speaking with us on BloombergQuint. What exactly happened at that meeting? What was it about? Because we know that you attended, and now it has become the center of this huge controversy.
Well, this was a meeting between a former Pakistani foreign minister and a group of predominantly former Indian diplomats who had dealt with Pakistan and who were very familiar with Pakistani policy. The conversation centered on India-Pakistan relations, where they stand, what could be done to improve them, what are the opportunities, what are the hurdles in the way, whether issues like people-to-people contact or trade relations can be taken forward even under the current sort of logjam in diplomatic dialogue. These were the kind of issues that were discussed. And since Mr. Kasuri was here to promote his book, he's just releasing his book in India, he spoke at length about the book and about the former dialogue between the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh regime and President Musharraf's representative, and how that could possibly be taken forward. I would like to clarify that the word Gujarat was not used to my recollection, and certainly there was no discussion about the Gujarat elections.
Now the BJP, Ajay, is effectively saying that if this meeting did take place and whatever its aim was, the government should have been informed about this meeting, especially looking at where India-Pakistan relationships stand at the moment. What's your view on that point?
I would only say that if the former foreign minister of Pakistan, Mr. Khurshid Kasuri, is coming to this country, he's entering this country, he's roaming around in the capital city, and the government does not know what he's doing or what he's here for, they really should be pulling their intelligence agencies to task. Besides that, the argument that nobody knew about this meeting, when I arrived there, the whole place was awash in Delhi police. There were security arrangements that were that had been put in place for the meeting. I asked the Delhi police inspector over there whether Mr. Kasuri had come yet. He said no, he's expected shortly. The Delhi police, to my understanding, comes under the central government. So this argument that this meeting took place without anyone knowing is completely spurious.
So why do you think it has been raked up now in the context of Gujarat, Ajay? And do you think it's a chord that will touch the voters?
I can only say that the argument that a former prime minister, a former vice president, army chief, 2 foreign secretaries, 4 former Indian ambassadors to Pakistan, the argument that a galaxy of eminences like this could be conspiring with a Pakistani foreign minister to derail the BJP's chances in a Gujarat election are so far-fetched as to really boggle the mind. I can only assume that Mr. Modi has sort of decided that the Gujarat election is so important that it is perfectly okay to slander former distinguished people who have served India all their lives, and including a former prime minister. I don't think that this will fly. The people of Gujarat are far too clever, far too intelligent to be taken in by hogwash like this. I think this is just a diversionary political tactic.
All right, thanks so much, Ajay Shukla, for speaking with us, senior journalist who was actually at that meeting, which has now become quite a big political controversy in the context of Gujarat. Moving on to the other big stories of the day, the Indian government has moved the Supreme Court in a bid to halt the Vodafone tax arbitration. An international arbitration tribunal is slotted to start hearing the 22,100 crore rupee tax case from February. The government seeking a stay under the bilateral pact with the United Kingdom, where Vodafone is headquartered. Arpan Chaturvedi is joining us now with the details. Arpan, what are the government's arguments?
Well, basically what Centre has moved against the Supreme Court is the Delhi High Court order which relates to the dispute between the Indian government and Vodafone as far as the appointment of arbitrators in the second arbitration case that's going on between the two sides is concerned. Now remember, this arbitration case itself manifests from the Vodafone tax case where the Bombay High Court first ruled that Vodafone was liable to pay taxes as far as the Hutchison deal was concerned, which was of course overturned by the Supreme Court, which held that Vodafone is not liable to pay any taxes for that transaction. Subsequent to that, the then government had introduced a clause in the finance bill which according to them made Vodafone once again liable to pay the taxes since it was with the retrospective effect. After that, of course, there has been arbitration proceedings going on. The first arbitration case is still pending, and then the second arbitration matter was initiated by the Indian government. And as far as that arbitration case is concerned, the appointment of arbitrator is a dispute for which the first it went to Delhi High Court, and now the whole matter by the central government approaching has landed at the doors of the Supreme Court.
Well, come Wednesday, bankers will have to submit a resolution plan for the 29 companies identified on RBI's second list of stressed accounts, and chances are most of them will have to be admitted for insolvency. 3 bankers BloombergQuint spoke to say that this list includes the 3 large accounts that make up for 40% of the total 1.82 lakh crore rupees that's on the line. Vishwanath Nair, who's been speaking to all the bankers, joins in with more details on this big story. Vishwanath, how big is the total exposure to these accounts?
Exposures worth 1.82 lakh crore at a risk of going into the insolvency and bankruptcy process as early as the end of this month. That is what our banking sources are telling us. Now, if you remember, in August, the Reserve Bank of India had sent a list of about 29 corporate accounts to bankers for resolution outside the insolvency and bankruptcy process by the 13th of December. If the bankers had failed in securing any kind of resolution process for these accounts, they would go into the NCLT for an insolvency proceeding. Now, what bankers are telling us is that out of 29 accounts, the banking sector has an exposure of about 1.82 lakh crore, and nearly 40%, that's about 70,000 crore worth of exposure is concentrated in only 3 accounts. That's IVRCL Limited, Videocon Industries, and Jaiprakash Associates. What bankers are also telling us is that they had identified about 11 out of these 29 accounts which could be resolved outside the NCLT process. However, of these 11, only 4 or 5 are anywhere close to a real resolution plan. Now, bankers have been holding a very high provisioning in all of these accounts for a very long time because they have been NPAs for a while, so they have been providing for these accounts over the last few financial years. So therefore, if these accounts do end up going into the insolvency and bankruptcy process, the provisioning hit that was expected on the bankers' books, that will not be as high as what some people would have worried.
Well, thanks so much for that, Vishwanath. Now, sale of passenger vehicles recovered from the slump in October and have risen in November. This is a consequence of low base effects due to demonetization and a rise in exports. CM data shows that automakers sold 14% more passenger vehicles at 2.8 lakh units in November compared to last year. Total domestic sales rose 24% over the year to 19.4 lakh units. Moreover, the industry body maintained its forecast of 8 to 10% growth in domestic sales in the coming financial year. Sale of two-wheelers jumped 23.5% to 1.5 lakh units, while that of commercial vehicles rose by half to 68,846 units. Sale of passenger cars rose 4.5% to 1.81 lakh units. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says that India's growth remains impressive despite subdued global economic growth. Speaking at the 5th pre-budget consultation meeting in New Delhi, Jaitley said that growth in the second quarter marks a reversal in the declining trend of growth witnessed in previous quarters. He also said that the government will stick to its fiscal roadmap. Jaitley said that fiscal targets have been achieved due to focus of expenditure rationalization and plugging of loopholes in public expenditure through DBT. And the New York Police Department is responding to reports of an explosion in Manhattan. NYPD has said that the origin of the explosion is unknown. The A, C and E lines of the New York subway are being evacuated currently. The New York City Fire Department has confirmed the number of injuries at 4. One suspect is in police custody. Well, to talk more on Rahul Gandhi's elevation, we'll be joined very soon by Sam Pitroda, chairman of the Overseas Congress, right here on Primetime Debate. It's quite a coup. He's the man credited with Rahul Gandhi's new political avatar. I'm speaking to him in just a few seconds, so we'll be right back on Primetime Debate. Don't go away.